breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty, and on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline this morning. My first time talking with Dr. John. Now, see, I would say John Vanchary.
You think I'm French, but I'm Italian.
Okay, so how it's Vanchary?
Vanchary, yeah.
Well, that makes it easier for people like me. Dr. John Vanchary, thank you so much for joining us. We understand that a pretty serious case of West Nile. I know there are different variations, but this is one of the more serious one that has been discovered in Shreveport.
Yes, I'm understanding the two cases, one in Shreveport, one in Bossier City, and this is the time of year when we expect to see that. So seeing cases is not a big surprise at this time of year. We know that mosquito activity is the number one, sort of predictor of West Nile disease in humans, because we're what we call an incidental host. The natural host is the birds, and the mosquitoes take the germ from the birds and incidentally, occasionally will transmit it to humans. And Labor Day is the peak time that we see the most cases of West Nile virus in our area.
How does it manifest itself? If I have West Nile sitting here today, what's going to be happening to me?
Well, for you, it's a little unpredictable, but for most people, for most people, they have no symptoms at all. And that's really the good news, is that for most people, it's benign. You'll have no symptoms. You never know you've been infected. Your immune response takes care of the virus, and you just go on about your day. You wouldn't have any symptoms at all. A small percentage of people, 5 to maybe 10% at most, have a fever illness with just fatigue, muscle aches, maybe a little rash, maybe some blurry vision because it does affect the eyes at times. But that's a milder illness that we call West Nile fever. And then the most serious is this neuroinvasive, and neuro means that it attacks the brain and the central nervous system. And that can be very severe. It can present like a stroke. It can present like, just headache and fever, sensitivity to lights, what we call photophobia, nausea, vomiting because there's increased pressure in the head. And it's pretty scary. The good news is it's rare, and it maybe happens in, 1 out of 1,000 people, maybe 1 out of 500 people. It's a rare complication. But it is more common in older folks over age 60. So, Aaron,
so that's why you're making the joke. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you got about 20 years before you have to worry about it.
Oh, thank you, Doc. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's over 80 then, as you're saying.
Hey.
Hey, we're the same age.
And then, yeah.
Dr. Vanchary, when do you recommend people
who are more sensitive would be kidney and liver disease? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask, when do you recommend that people, if they think they may be infected, seek medical treatment?
Yeah, the challenge is that we don't have any specific medical treatments for West Nile. There are no antiviral drugs that do anything against the virus. There's no vaccine except for a horse vaccine, and so folks who think they have West Nile fever should maybe talk with their doctor and maybe see their doctor, because there's a blood test you could do to confirm that that's what it is. But it's again, there's not a specific treatment. You're going to have what we call supportive care. There are Tylenol or other medications just for pain relief and fever control.
There could be a lot of people that have West Nile virus, not the neuroinvasive, and they're out among us. We just never will know about those cases, right?
Oh, absolutely. That is absolutely true, yes. I mean, if I took blood samples from 100 people in Louisiana, 95 of them have likely had West Nile infection at some time in the past.
Wow.
We can look at their immune memory,
Wow.
And this virus has been in the United States since 1999. So, 25 years now, and it's here to stay. We use the word endemic. It's here every year, and the mosquitoes are really the issue.
Yeah. When are we going to change COVID to endemic?
It is.
Yeah.
It is now endemic. Yeah.
Okay, one stupid question, and I love to ask these. You hear all these things about, if your blood type, blah, 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 the mosquitoes like to bite you more. If you're my daddy used to tell me I was so sweet, that's why mosquitoes bit me. Is there any rhyme or reason to why mosquitoes bite some people more than others?
Well, I think for some people, maybe like me and you, we have such thick skin that mosquitoes never can bite us. So I don't know the answer to that either.
Are you saying I'm thin-skinned because they love me?
Yeah. Well, that could be it. It could be the sweetness. But I think that there's a lot of research in this area of mosquitoes and how they're, how they do things and why they do things. I don't think they really know why they do things, but the mosquitoes don't know it, but they just do.
But they're not attracted to a certain blood type.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And there are some factors like, the amount of carbon dioxide in the air and stuff that may be a factor. They are attracted to some scents and smells. That
they say darker clothing.
Darker clothing. I think they're attracted to brighter clothing, but because they're attracted to brighter lights and things too. So I don't think there's a whole lot of rhyme or reason that you can, predict. Well, if I wear a red shirt today, I'm going to be protected against mosquitoes. I don't think that's going to help you much. So, but if you get rid of standing water around your home, like in flower pots and old tires and things around your junkyard and stuff where water accumulates, that really is the major thing. You want to control mosquitoes because mosquitoes they're not travelers very much. They stay within 100 feet, maybe 100 yards of where they're born. So they're not going down, 4 or 5 houses down to find other people. They stay near where they're born. And so controlling them locally is a real big part of keeping West Nile activity.
Yeah, I've got a fogger that I use that you attach a can to it and then fill it with this fogging spray. And I if we're going to set out on the porch, I'll treat the shrubbery around, right around the front porch, and it helps.
Well, that fogger explains a lot, I guess, about you.
Wow.
Well, you're new here. You got to have some love.
Yeah, not his first rodeo. Yeah.
I don't breathe a lot. I don't breathe a lot of that in.
Good, very good. That's a good policy there. Yeah,
Dr. John Van Cherry with LSU Med Center. Can you hold with us because we want to talk to you after the break about we've got heat warnings in effect right now in Shreveport, Bossier, and how to protect yourself against the heat.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you so much. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
By the way, you can catch Dr. John Van Cherry at the Funny Bone Friday night at 7.
Love you, Doc.
You guys.
Look, we are dealing with some heat issues. There are heat warnings in effect right now. We know we have, unfortunately, had 4 confirmed deaths due to heat. What is your recommendation for folks that feel they might be at some risk?
Well, this is one of those things where everybody's so darn hot. Hold on, I'm trying to open this stuff.
Oh, your phone's got a bug in it.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
That's better, yeah.
All right, good. So, everybody's at risk of some because it is so darn hot. And this is the typical time of the year where we see heat-related injuries as the dog days of summer, right? And so, staying indoors is a big deal. Staying cool is a big deal. And importantly, stay hydrated. What happens, especially with older folks who say, well, I don't want to drink anything because then I'll have to go to the bathroom. Well, they end up getting more dehydrated than they know. and then they are more susceptible to being sick from respiratory viruses or urinary tract infections or other things. And so we really want folks to stay hydrated, stay in a cool environment. Even just getting in the shade reduces your temperature exposure by 8 to 10 degrees. It makes a huge difference for your body.
Doc, Caddo Parish is second to Jefferson Parish so far this year for heat-related hospital visits, which leads me to ask you, what are some of the early signs? If I'm suffering from something that does warrant going to the hospital, what do I need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so it's kind of complicated, but as you get more dehydrated, you'll go from sweating to not sweating. And if you're outside and you're sweating is good. It's how your body helps cool itself. But if you notice that you're not making sweat, that's a real good indicator that you're dehydrated. And also your heart rate will be faster because as your body hydration goes down, your heart has to pump more to get the blood around. And so those are the things that, you want to get into a cool environment, drink cool water, get in your swimming pool if it's not 98 degrees, and if it's cooler than that may be helpful. But getting indoors and at the very least in shade and drinking cold fluids is the best way to stay hydrated and mitigate the risk of heat illness.
Now, there are some of us, not me, obviously, who have to work outdoors. Oh, that's part of their gig.
Right.
And I know I know the companies that employ them do give them breaks during the middle of the day, but sometimes it's hot. It was 90 degrees last night at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're working outdoors, you really want to be drinking, water or electrolyte beverage all the time that you're out there. Always have a water bottle in your pocket or right with you so that you can be sipping water and drinking and making sure that you're getting at least a quart or two of water an hour that you're in the outdoors. You really need that much to stay hydrated.
What actions should you take if, like, Mike's outside mowing his lawn and I think Mike's overcome by the heat? What do I jump in if I'm his neighbor? What do I jump in and do?
Well, I think you first go over, assuming he's still upright and talking with you, you want to make sure you help him get indoors, because when you're dehydrated and heat illness, your neurons up there, depending on how many you have, for Mike, it may not be working well. And so you really, delirium is part of what happens with heat illness, and you really become less aware of how compromised you may be. And so you may need help getting indoors.
So you're saying some of us, you may not know if we're delirium or not, right?
Well,
some of us.
It's right. It just maybe you're normal, and it's hard to tell, Mike.
Right, yeah.
That way, but we learn about you. That's why we keep track of you.
Well, she says that though, but I do mow late in the afternoon, and of course it's hot. But I do take frequent breaks, and I go. And get and hydrate and sit on the porch under the fan for just a few minutes.
Yep.
It's not like when I was 23.
But we were told by Dr. Todd Toma the other day, the Caddo coroner, that one of the latest deaths, he literally was wandering through the Broadmoor neighborhood. He kind of lost his capacity and was found dead in a yard. That you get to that point.
Yeah, there was definite delirium.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that definitely does happen, again, especially in older folks who are more prone to dehydration. Obviously, young children, babies in particular, we're always worried about babies being left in a car because that car can get really hot really fast, and that can be fatal. So making sure that the young babies that might be sleeping in the car seat are taken care of. And again, we hate any of those tragedies that happen.
But obviously call 911, 911, get help on the way, definitely, right?
That's right. When in doubt, call for help, absolutely. And even if it's an overcall, better to be safe than sorry, absolutely is the case. And Mike, if you're going to be mowing your grass, it's better not to be doing it at dusk and dawn, even though it's a little cooler, but because that's when the mosquitoes are more active. And so you're balancing your risk out of your West Nile infection versus your heat stuff. So it's a tough time of year to be working outdoors. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Dr. John Van Cherry at LSU Med, thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning.
All right. Happy to be with you guys.
Thank you, Doc.
You guys have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Next, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Downtown Development Authority Board President Michael Corbin going to give us an update on their search for a new DDA director. That's coming up next. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Time.
To the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I love this song. This is my favorite song. I listen to this while I'm mowing the yard at 3 p.m.
You let too many mosquitoes bite you.
And I don't wear a shirt, so all the mosquitoes can
my
get...
God.
No, you're not going to see me without a shirt. I don't care if I'm at the beach. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to see this. Yeah. On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline, Michael Corbin, he's got his DDA board president shirt on today. Hat on. Michael, good morning. Save me here, brother.
Good morning. How are y'all today?
Well, we're doing well. We got a message earlier this morning. What's the status on the DDA director search?
Well, I can tell you where we are. As you remember, a few months ago, we engaged a search firm to help us attract and vet candidates. Mm-hmm. We've made our first cut, or the search firm has actually, presented candidates to us in multiple tiers. So we have narrowed that down to 5, and are in the next step of the process where candidates will complete a video interview and a questionnaire.
Now, are there any local candidates still in the cut?
There are local, regional, and national candidates in the group of 5.
Now, these video interviews, are they being done by the private firm, or are they being done by the DDA board?
All this is being done by the private firm, and they will present this to the search committee. We have a meeting next Friday, August the 16th, where I expect that we will view the videos, go through the questionnaires, hear background checks, social media checks, and my hope is that we will narrow that list from 5 to a much smaller number, possibly even 2.
Now, you know that the original list of candidates was out. We know Cedric Glover's name was on that list. There were others local. And then you hired a search firm. Are there any new names on the list that were not on the original? I mean, have they found, somebody else that maybe didn't want their name public, but now because it's now private, they jumped in the running?
You mean locally?
Or anybody?
There, as I said earlier, we have local, regional, and national candidates that are on the short list of 5.
Okay, what are their names and contact numbers?
I don't even know that.
You don't know the names?
I don't know all of them, no.
Okay, but we are still, is Cedric Glover still in the running? Can you tell us that?
I can't say who's in the running and who's not, just for our contract with the search firm, because they're doing their work, and I don't want to include any or introduce any bias into the selection process.
Okay, can you tell us who's not on the list?
Mike Martindale, Aaron McCarty.
Not on the list.
We do know Lavette Fuller withdrew her application, correct?
She did.
She was one of the locals. Now, will these video interviews, at what point do they become public? Once the board gets them, I guess, then it's public information?
At the point that the DDA board receives information from the search firm, then that I guess could be considered public. I do not believe that it would serve any purpose for video interviews or questionnaires to be made public until we have chosen a candidate. I just don't see the reason for that to be out there. Mm-hmm. Now, others may not agree with that, but our goal here and our role as DDA board members and the smaller search committee is to find the best candidate for the area, for downtown, and bring that candidate forward, whether that be local, regional, or national candidate.
Qualities that Michael Corbin, your one vote, qualities that Michael Corbin wants to see in our next DDA director.
Well, I think we've been very consistent in our messaging that we are looking for someone with prior DDA experience, if possible. Mm-hmm. If they have not worked in a organization like a downtown development authority, something that is easily comparable with the same goals, and we have some folks like that in the mix. I will say that we had 20 applicants that went through the search firm, including the local applicants that we asked them to include. And
wait, 20 in addition to the locals?
No, 20 total.
Okay.
And there was a wide range of backgrounds.
When's the goal for having a new DDA director in place? What are you hoping?
Well, I think that if our schedule holds that we have right now, we should be prepared to select a candidate and begin salary negotiations. I would say early September. It would be my hope to have somebody in place by October 1st.
All right. One other thing, I didn't warn you about this. This is going to be a busy 4 days in downtown Shreveport. You have seen the activity, no doubt. The DDA has been assisting, I'm sure, with all these activities. This is kind of unprecedented for what's happening downtown, right?
Well, it is. And, I think everybody wants this festival to be a success, and then that would build on future events. I'll put on multiple hats and say that the DDA staff has been very involved in supporting this, and I applaud their efforts over the past couple of months, and especially the past 3 weeks. And I put on my SWEPCO hat and say that we have worked closely with the city and with G Unit Productions to make sure that they have everything that they need for the festival, supporting the festival site and the venues to be sure that everything is powered properly and we have a safe environment.
Okay, since you've got your SWEPCO hat on, Michael Corbin, the Vice President of External Affairs for SWEPCO, how can people trim their electric bill during this oppressive heat?
Well, it's the same things that we talk about all the time is, adjust your thermostat as much as you can tolerate. And that's hard for many of us. If you have blinds or curtains, keep those closed so you're limiting the heat and sunlight coming into your home. Watch your usage of things like washers and dryers. It may be better to do that at night when it's a little cooler because appliances put heat back into our homes in many instances. And, if you're going out to make a new purchase, then look for energy efficient appliances and heating and cooling systems. And you can always go to our website, swepco.com, click on the savings button, and there are many tips there that will help you save money on your bill.
Okay, one more thing before we let you go, because my father used to do something, and you can tell me today, may he rest in peace. I loved him dearly. He used to do something that I thought was crazy. You can tell me if my father was crazy or if it was okay.
No pressure here, Michael.
He used to, every now and then in the hot summer, he would go outside and he would hose the roof of the house to cool the roof down.
One of my neighbors does this.
Is that crazy, or does that legitimately help?
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, I'm thinking about the genetic pool here and what's been passed down.
Hey,
But
they're coming at me from all sides.
Wow. You're getting it too now.
So he's crazy?
But no, it could help a little bit, but in doing that, then you're increasing your water usage and your water bill, so it probably really doesn't offset.
No, I'm flushing the brown water, so the water looks good. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
He just called my deceased father crazy.
No, he didn't. He said you were crazy.
Michael Corbin, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Apply.
For breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Last night, big night. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Tim Fletcher came in. We do the sports in the mornings. He goes, Dave Chappelle showed up.
No,
it's like, oh my gosh!
How cool
Humor
is
and
that?
Harmony, the comedy show at the Municipal Auditorium last night. Dave Chappelle showed up.
Yes.
Just unannounced. I don't know how unexpected.
The crowd
I'm sure
goes
he
crazy.
called Curtis and said,
"Oh yeah, I'm coming.
I'll be there.
I'll be there for you, bud." He probably is last minute.
But don't you know, Curtis was like, "Man, if you'd let me know, I could have billed you and sold a billion tickets.
Could have filled the Brookshire Grocery Arena. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. Little bit of a slow getting in. I saw some of the lines. It was a little bit slow getting in the municipal. The dome, the G Dome, they were rocking in the G Dome until 4 this morning. I drove down there about 4:30 this morning to see, are there still folks? And there were a lot of folks that kind of congregated over toward Bally's and toward the casinos, but there were police everywhere still. They were moving some of the barricades.
You couldn't drive next to the dome at all.
You weren't driving a car.
Get by there.
If somebody wanted to do mischief in a car near the G Dome, you weren't getting close to the G Dome. It was all walkable.
Police every intersection.
Police were at every spot. I saw them moving some of the barricades to get ready for this morning's rush for the business crowd. But some of the streets are going to stay blocked off. The G Dome, I don't know if you saw the inside. It looked plush. It had sofa seating. It had this lighting. I mean, it was amazing. It really was. I'm excited. This big event went off pretty much without a hitch last night. I haven't heard any problems. Bristol from Kiss Country was there at Municipal. We're going to bring her in at just past 7 and find out how was the vibe. How was it when Dave Chappelle walks out? Is 50 Cent part of the show the whole time? What does he do? Was Chappelle
expected? Did they know he was coming?
Did they hear there was going to be a last-minute surprise? Right. Yeah. She said, man, it was good vibes. So I'm looking forward to talking to her. Mortgage rates, too, driving home sales. Scott Hughes is going to tell us things are really firing up right now. So that's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, too.
Now, did the feds, have they announced any interest rate drops or anything? Have they?
Rates have been going down. Down. I don't know if the latest from the Fed. I'm not sure about that, but rates have been dropping. My real estate friends are like, man, things are firing up. Okay. We're really starting to sell some stuff. So that's good news.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I know. On in my area, they're going like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not sitting on the market long at all.
This is a kind of off topic, but I did pass by the Libby Glass yesterday. I was like, let me see if they still got a for sale sign up there. And it is. We need to kind of get an update on that. If they had any nibbles, they're trying to sell that to a new manufacturing company that will just tear it all down and build a new.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this morning, coming in on I-20, westbound, there's a huge section of lights out.
Huge.
I mean, huge. Almost from the fairgrounds to the 220.
I know, Mike.
I mean, a
been
huge section.
Yeah, I've been griping about it for months. They fix it, it goes out. They fix it, it goes out. I was told years ago that rats get in there and chew the line. Are we the only city with rats?
Really?
Don't other cities have some sort of, pipe and conduit you put the lines through that rats can't chew? I don't know. Eastbound, they've all been out for more than 2 months. Now, they have a private contractor working on it. I actually looked at the mayor dead in the eye and I said, how does this go 2 months? He said, we're working on it. I assure you we're working on it. So it's way more than a bulb problem.
Oh, absolutely. Because westbound, like I say, all the way almost from Jewella past Monkhouse.
I know.
And then, and the lights I noticed at Monkhouse, the exit ramp, all those lights were out too.
It's a wiring issue, and you
would, circuit or something.
Yeah, you would think you do everything possible this weekend. Fix them this weekend. Because guess where all these celebrities are leaving out of? Monkhouse Drive to the airport. It's frustrating. But anyway, glad everything went off last night. It's exciting to see, and it's going to be a great weekend, I'm hoping, for all the other events. Bristol with Kiss Country joining us coming up after the news. She was at Municipal, and I'm anxious to hear from her. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710keel.com. .107 FM, 710 Keel, Mike and McCarty. Big night last night. The Municipal Auditorium, jam-packed, laughter filled the air. Yes. Surprise guests, VIP area full. And we've got a guest in studio with us this morning. Bristol from Kiss Country 93.7.
And I was at Humor and Harmony.
And you were there.
And
you bought tickets too, by the way.
I did.
You paid.
Oh,
I
signed up early. The second the pre-sale hit, I went on it. I bought 2 tickets. Cost me $311.
Ooh, you were a Matt Rife fan.
Huge Matt Rife fan.
Okay.
And, I'm going to be honest. I do the country morning show. I did not know who some of the people were.
Sure.
Afterwards, I was like, oh, that's Master P.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, Dave Chappelle came out, opens up the show. And
he opened the show.
He comes walking out.
Does 50 Cent introduce him? How's that go?
No. So Dave Chappelle
nobody knew he was going to be there.
No, this was a total surprise guest. And I was ready to put money on Tyler Perry. Because, he and Fitty are good friends. He's a Louisiana boy.
Yeah.
Kept hearing all about, the different secret guests.
Y'all were hearing secret guests talk?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he just comes out. He's in jeans and just a plain white T-shirt. And I'm like, because we're older.
Sure.
And even though we had really
She's
good
squinting
seats,
for
I'm
those
like,
who didn't see that.
Holy, that's Dave Chappelle.
Golly. One of the top 5
Did he do 10
comedians
minutes
in the
or
world.
anything?
No, and it was funny. He even made the comment. He said, I ain't getting paid for this. You ain't getting no jokes.
Did he really?
It was funny. No, it was funny.
I told you they didn't pay. He just wanted to be a part of this.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
So then he brought 50 out.
Okay.
And,
Did the place go nuts?
Oh, you have no idea, because I don't think anybody really expected 50 to be there because, the ribbon cutting.
Sure.
It was happening downtown right about the same time. So, but yeah, he came out and then they brought on the host for the evening. And I want to say it was Rudy. I don't know. I mean, that cognac that 50 Cent pushes is really good.
Oh, really?
For instance, yes.
Oh, I like some cognac.
One'll do ya.
So how many comedians were on the bill? How many did you get to see?
Oh my gosh. We left after Matt Rife because, we wake up early.
Sure.
I lost count, honestly. I mean, it felt, because it kept flowing, like 5-minute sets.
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm sure
quick.
some of them were longer, but yeah, They kept it moving. The music was on point. They had, like I said, Master P played. I mean, it was cool. I ended up, and I've got video, and maybe I can show the video to Ruben because I'm not quite sure who it was. But like, I could have reached out and touched him. He was singing right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the vibe in the room? Take us in the room. What's the vibe feeling like?
Dude, I mean, it was just good. I mean, you open up with Dave Chappelle, and
crowd went crazy.
Oh yeah, and and I was chatting with the girl sitting next to me, and we were just like, man, this has been great. Love the cameras downtown. Let's just hope Shreveport doesn't Shreveport. I mean, but
was there? Aaron said somebody made kind of a Ratchet City reference and jokes about y'all crazy.
It really wasn't knocking on Shreveport at all. Now a couple of them were talking about, dude, it's so hot. And I want to say with Chappelle, it's like, you live here yet, Fitty? And he's like, not yet. So, I mean, it sounds like,
Wow.
I've heard he's bought a house here. I don't know if that's
we're hearing.
true.
That's what we're Now, would you have been there if it was at Independence Stadium?
Yeah, I bought it when
you were
going to
go
at Independence Stadium.
So you were going anyway.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Now, it started at what, 6:30?
Dude, it was so hot. It was so hot.
Lines to get in, I'm told. It was slow getting in.
Honestly, it went really well. Our friend Marla, who's head of SMG in our area.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all hands on deck when Miss Marla is scanning tickets when you go in, okay?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
How late did it go? I mean, you left early. What time did you leave?
11ish.
It's still going at 11?
Dude, it was...
And you hung till 11? And wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Ish. Yeah.
Wow.
We were at dinner with some friends last night, and it got to be close to 9, and I'm going, guys, I'm sorry. I got to break this up. I got to go home.
You, it was orderly. There, there wasn't a wait for drinks. I mean, it was really good. And I'm going to tell you what, they kitted that place out. It was 50 cent everything. Even the bar signs behind the concession stands.
How full was it? How full was it?
Oh, it was packed.
Was it?
It was packed.
A couple of scattered seats was all I could see, really.
Yeah. And, and who knows what that's attributed to. It may have been someone who bought tickets and couldn't make it, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And you went with one other friend. Mm-hmm. Crowd was well behaved. You didn't see any.
No, I literally never felt uncomfortable. Not a single moment.
How far away did you have to park?
We didn't. My friend Rebecca lives downtown, so we just grabbed an Uber and just had a friend pick us right up. So, I mean, it was literally door service.
Wow.
Yeah, they had it really well planned out. And, considering the fact that, I'm with VYJ and we're running the...
Volunteers for Youth Justice.
Yes, we're running the admission this weekend in Festival Plaza for people to get in.
Oh,
we've kind of been
houses.
lucky to be a part of the planning process.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, it seems as if they've thought of just about everything.
G-Dome, were a lot of people talking about going down there?
People were ready. Well, I told you, the cognac was...
It was legit.
People were ready to go downtown.
Okay, now I got to get the name of that because I want to try it.
Oh, my. Branson's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they've opened a business in the Red River District that serves it all. I mean, they have that brand and they're serving it all the time. So I'm thrilled you got to go. And you got to see Dave Chappelle. I'm jelly.
That's cool. That is cool. Now, did he hang the rest of the night? Or
he came back on stage, halfway through. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I mean, it was love. And you could tell these comedians were totally playing out for each other.
Wow. That's impressive. It's a big deal for Shreveport. I'm telling you, folks don't realize how big it is. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Bristol with Kiss Country, 93.7. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
TGIF.
Oh, yeah.
Erin's, she's over there leaning against the microphone.
I'm getting sleepy already. It's like I was at the show last night. I'm not going to, yeah. I did go by. I went by this morning down there about 4:30.
Right. And you said you could not drive by next to the dome at all.
You could not
They had it blocked off.
Yeah.
So if anybody did want to cause any trouble, they couldn't even go through, drive by there.
Yeah, it would have to be, they would have to be walking
Okay.
through. But there were still tons of cops out there, 4:45 this morning. I mean, a lot of cops. Some of them were moving some barricades from some of the roadways, but there were still a lot of roads blocked off. But I also checked out yesterday Festival Plaza, and if you haven't seen that yet,
I got to go by there. I want to see that.
The bounce, I tried to describe it for Ruben yesterday. Take one bounce house, okay? One where you walk up and then you slide down. Enlarge that by 10. Okay?
Really?
Make that 10 times as big.
So one was huge.
One is huge.
Okay.
There are at least 10 huge ones.
Oh, wow.
With like obstacles you run through and, different things that are swinging at you.
So is that open all weekend?
Yes,
or?
it's open today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And the kids are having a blast. I would encourage you, if you're bringing your kids to that, be sure you have a lot of water. They're going to have water stations, obviously, down there, but it's going to be hot, and it is the big outdoor event for this event. So be sure the kids drink a lot of water, light-colored clothing. I'm telling you, this was a monster setup. This is not regular bounce houses.
Let me just say, let me go on record.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos.
Oh.
Chief Wayne Smith, the entire Shreveport Police Department, Caddo Sheriff Henry Whitehorn.
You bet.
The Sheriff's Department, Marshal. I mean,
all of them.
Everybody coordinated, worked together.
Spar, Shelley Regal and her team. Oh.
Curtis Jackson. He put in his own nickels on this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He didn't ask the city, from what I understand. Mayor Arsenault. I mean, this was good. This was good.
Right.
And Curtis Jackson, thank you. For bringing this to Shreveport. I just think, again, I've said, we're on the brink of having some new industries coming to town.
Yes.
Amazon's about to fire up. Schlumberger. I mean, we got some good thing. The port. I don't think people realize the benefit, just the port.
Right. And we have been, and you've noticed, everybody's been noticing how much cleaner it looks. The crews have been really working hard. Now, I know it's to get ready for this event, but I'm hoping we can kind of keep that momentum. And let's keep these crews out and about.
It just takes the first steps.
Yes. And if
in the right direction.
If you know somebody, or you were someone who was maybe tossing stuff out your windows, maybe let's not do that anymore. Maybe let's get a bag and put it in your car. And maybe let's say, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to change my habit. It was a horrible habit, and I'm not going to do that anymore, perhaps.
I saw a video. Obviously, it was like an Uber car. And the car behind it, for some reason, was filming. But the passenger in the back seat tossed a can or a bottle. They were in a line on the street, and they were moving slowly. It was kind of stacked, and this guy threw a bottle out of the window of the back of this car. The car stopped. The driver gets out, goes around, picks up the bottle, throws it back in the front seat, opens the back door, takes the guy out, and throws him out of the car.
Wow.
It's like, we're not doing this.
We don't do this.
And left him on the side of the road.
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
I'm like, it wasn't Shreveport.
Right, yeah.
But that's the kind of attitude we need to have.
That would be great. And I mean, I've seen the mowing teams all up and down the Parkway, up and down Uri Drive. I mean, they have been busy. And I know they kicked them into high gear. This is an important weekend. But if we could keep that ball rolling, let's keep this place looking great and keep this positive momentum rolling, that would be so cool. It really would. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the vibe in Municipal last night was awesome. And for crying out loud, Dave Chappelle walks out to open the show.
Open the show.
How bummed am I that I was not there? That is just sad. He's one of my all-time favorites of all time.
The closest moment that I can think of that I experienced something like that, back in the 90s, Promise Keepers movement across the country was huge. And we were in Texas Stadium one weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And so everybody, they have a scheduled speakers and everything.
Sure.
And they have the huge screens, and one of the cameras caught Tony Evans kind of backstage. And he wasn't scheduled to speak.
Oh, man.
So the crowd just started rumbling all the way through the stadium. Tony Evans. Tony Evans. So that was exciting, and to hear him speak was
right. The thing about it is, for Dave Chappelle to show up last night, what other surprises are coming?
Yeah.
Could a Tyler Perry really show up?
Well, and that's what, Tyler Perry.
Could we have some more musical acts show up for the Saturday night show we don't know about? I mean, it really is going to be fun.
So Friday, last night, or Thursday night, last night was the comedy show.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe tonight is the celebrity basketball. That's going on at Stageworks. Tomorrow night's 2 of the musical shows that are going on. 2 shows tomorrow. There are a bunch of things Sunday. There's kind of a brunch type, white party type deal. Of course, the Fit Festival's going on at Festival Plaza for the kids all weekend. Car show at the convention center.
Yeah, Dina said, she goes, there's a car show this weekend. I was like, I know, I want to go.
I know.
I love car shows.
It's going to be a big deal, no doubt about it. It's a big weekend.
Coming up, interest rates making some movements, and which is making some movements in the housing market. We're going to talk with Scott Hughes. He's coming in.
He is. Our
brand new studio, and find out what's going on with that. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL News is next.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Interest rates dropping. Housing market is beginning to make some movements. We're going to talk with Scott Hughes coming up just after the local news.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, in our brand new palatial studios, Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and the president of the Northwest Louisiana Association of Realtors, Scott Hughes, joining us. Scott, good morning. Haven't seen you in a while.
Good morning, and wonderful. I'm the CEO, just for the record. We have a president. That's our realtor
CEO.
president. But I'm the staff person. But glad to be here, and welcome back to your old place.
Yeah.
This looks nice.
This is beautiful, isn't it? Seeing that mortgage rates are dipping, it is spurring some kind of interest in the housing market, and could be picking up a little bit. You watch this on a daily basis. What are we seeing here in Northwest Louisiana?
Where are rates right now?
Rates right now are probably in the average rate. Well, I'll go with that. The average rate seems to be in the mid-6s, 6.5. Okay. But that is down from we were in the 7s. Even some hit 8 a couple months ago. I believe that we have hit a point now where they're in their lowest average rate in 12, 15 months, so well over a year. And they're dropping. And what we are encouraged by, if you follow the Federal Reserve, who sets federal policy for the country, they have not even cut rates really this year. They keep toying it. The last 3 meetings, we thought they would cut. They did not. And after the last meeting, they all but promised there's a rate. If you follow their verbiage, there's a rate cutting. So we're looking maybe what they call 50 basis points. That's half a percentage point on the lending. So if we're sitting at 6.5 today with probably 2 rate cuts coming the rest of the year, you can conceivably see interest rates drifting down into the 5s, maybe even the high 4s.
Is it impacting things in Shreveport-Bossier?
I think it is. I mean, I think it's impacting in that when the rates get back to what people think is normal. Let's be fair. Over 100 years, a 7% interest rate's not a bad rate. It's just for this generation, particularly because of the COVID rates, where we got below 3. Mike, you and I were talking. We both currently have home rates below 3.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And that is
and that's a 15-year rate.
And that's a 15-year rate for me too. But if you have a rate below 3, you need to understand that's an unnatural rate. You're never going to likely see them below 3 again. There were special things that happened in COVID. Yes, the rates went down. It's because the economy was in the tank. They were basically begging you to borrow money. We did, and those borrowing rates now have us locked in. Mike and I aren't putting our homes on the market. We'd have to buy at this higher price rate.
Right.
We'd be moving from a 2.4 rate to a 6. And we're not going to do that.
So so those people like us that have that really fortunate rate, is that causing them to maybe not sell?
That's been the exact issue. I use my personal situation. My wife and I have 2 kids. They're in college, as I think both of you all know. And so we're now, quote, empty nesters. In a traditional real estate market, now would be the time we would be putting our large house on the market that we don't need anymore, taking the equity back into our funds, moving to a smaller place. But I'm at a 2 whatever interest rate. Right. I would have to move to a 6.5, which is down right now.
Right.
I would be going to a smaller place, paying a larger rate. I'm better off holding my house right now, living in it basically for free, with my interest rate being where it's at. And at the same time, the value of my home is appreciating rapidly, the price. So the longer I hold it, the more I'm making. And that really is the problem. And so as the farther we get from COVID, what you're going to see is more and more people now, the rate gap gets smaller, but also people at a certain point have to move. Your son had to move. He had to move out of town. That's a house that might sell. Your children have moved. Mine didn't own a home here in town, but there comes a point where you do move. There comes a point where I physically will have to move. And so we're seeing multiple things. We're seeing the number of inventory go up, houses for sale. We're seeing the rates come down, and that creates good activity. We saw about a 20% increase in closed houses last month over the month before.
So if people are looking for home or looking for a house,
they're looking for houses. Unfortunately, price is up. That continues to go up. You and I have talked, Aaron, on price, and we now see the average price, air quotes, in the market, whatever you think that is. It's around $260 now.
Okay.
It was $180 before COVID. So price is way up, but stabilizing. That's the key. The curve is not going up anymore, much like inflation. Inflation went up, but now it's kind of peaking and we're at a plateau.
Now, when you say the average price is $260, is that for Shreveport and Bossier, or does it matter what areas?
We that's the way we do stats. That's for the 7-parish region, Northwest Louisiana. So Shreveport, Bossier, Minden, DeSoto, and then Red River, Bienville, and Claiborne. That's the parishes we look at.
So if somebody is going, I'm looking at maybe buying a house, should they wait a few weeks to see what the Fed's going to do? Should they? What do you suggest? Wait a few months?
When you ask the real estate guy, I'm going to tell you never wait for two reasons. Number one, you can always renegotiate or refinance an interest rate. Then if you do it real fast, you're going to pay penalties. You don't want to do it real fast, and so you might want to wait a month or two because yes, they're going to probably drop from where they are 6.5, maybe down below 6.5. That's worth waiting a couple months. But the other thing we like to point out is if you are renting, and that's where consumers are been killed, is on the rent. The rent rates really went way up, and now rent is stabilizing. And the two are tied because the price of rent does drive the price you could sell the house for. And so the two are very tied. So rents are stabilizing, even coming down. That's helping stabilize the housing market. But we like to point out in the real estate world, rent is 100% interest. So that's why we always say if you're looking to buy, you should get in the market and start looking. You might not find a house for several months. Get in that market. But if you're paying rent, you're paying 100% interest. You have no equity. The key to home ownership is the key to wealth in this country.
You and I have talked off the air, and I haven't given you this heads up today.
I love these shockers.
I do this. We have had a lot of problems with apartment complexes in this community over the past 6 months. A lot of them, the water's been turned off. The places have been vacated. And you told me one day a few weeks ago, you said that's going to be a problem because you're losing the availability of housing for people who want to rent. And we have limited places out there. Is that going to be a critical issue at a point?
I think it's becoming a critical issue. And I'm not going to correct you. I just want to I'll put a spin. I'll be honest. We're not having a problem with apartment complexes in this community. We're having a problem with out-of-town apartment complex owners. I want to clarify that because a lot of my people, the realtors, the property owners, they're getting a bad hat for what really is a few bad actors, to our knowledge, none of whom live in town. Now, some of the water bills is different. I haven't looked at that list yet. But the complexes that are being shut down, those were out-of-town owners, many of whom took advantage of COVID money, COVID interest rates, to refinance their projects, effectively flip them, take the equity out, and then abandon them. That's what they did. They stopped paying bills.
What do we do to solve that?
I'll tell you what we do. We're supporting the mayor and the city council. We think the efforts, and this is funny coming from the Realtor Association, we believe in private property, but we also believe private property shouldn't hurt other private property. And so if we have bad actors, and these are bad actors, these are slumlords. And we've always said we are not going to protect slumlords. We will protect property owners. And that's our position. And so in these cases, I think the city, even though they're taking extraordinary measures, are taking the correct measures. But it's going to create the problem that you've noticed. When you can't take 1,000 units off the market, 1,000 places where people live. That means that's 1,000 places that the market has to replace. We have to put them somewhere. And I think
that drives the prices up.
And it's just supply and demand. You learn it in economics. Supply and demand. It's nothing that we're doing on the realtor side, that property owners are doing, or government's doing. It's just you take 1,000 people out of homes and you got to go put them somewhere else. That means that the price of everything just went up. I think we are starting to stabilize. The market's starting to stabilize. And you're seeing new units come on the market. That's what we really need. We need new units, and we especially need new affordable housing. That's why things like downtown development become very exciting, because you're adding units to a place you never had them.
I was driving Centenary just this past week. What is that complex as you're heading south on Centenary? It's on the left. At one time, these buildings were beautiful. They're brick.
I don't want to say a name because I knew it as one thing when I went to Centenary, so I knew it when I was in college, and a lot of my friends lived there. A lot of college professors lived there.
Yellow or gold brick?
Yes, and it's right there on the corner of Olive and Centenary, in that area there.
Okay.
That's one of the 6 that really has become a problem, and that's a shame because that was a wonderful complex in the 80s and 90s.
I lived in there in the 80s. I sure did.
Well, okay. Are they all vacant now? Because it looks like, how many buildings are there? That's a huge complex.
There's probably 15 or 20 buildings.
I lived in Building N, so what letter of that in the alphabet is
it? Goes down the hill and around. It's a lot bigger complex than people think it is.
Yes, it is.
That one's a prime example. The other one, which most of the market knows, is Quail Creek. It has a different name now.
Jolie.
The Jolie is the new name. That was another one that a lot of my friends out of college moved into. Young professionals lived there. That's another 15, 20 building complex that's gone. And those were, if you have been in Shreveport for 30, 40 years, those were mainstay places that people lived, wonderful places, and they're gone. And we haven't built that new inventory to replace them.
So on Centenary, that complex, those buildings, can they be rehabbed? Can they be refurbished?
They can, and I don't want to speak for the city. I know that they are working. You're looking now at getting the courts. You're looking at getting control. You're looking at maybe a sheriff's sale. I don't know how it's going to happen, but someone that will eventually take those over, because especially the ones on Centenary, those are brick buildings. Those are
that's
good
what I'm
infrastructure.
saying. Exactly.
The Jolie is less so. You know, the buildings might be a little more suspect in terms of structural soundness. But yes, someone can do that. Come in. It's going to take some money. But this is the second problem, and I'll use the term gentrification, because if you take the current ones on Centenary, they have a certain market rate, probably very low. You know, it's it's just survival living for the most part right now. That's one of the problems. People can afford to pay so much. If somebody comes in and buys that, rehabs it, suddenly that market rate may go double or 3 times. So the people that used to live there can't afford to live there anymore. That's new people living there. We still have to find housing for the people that got displaced.
Yeah.
Great
Scott
stuff.
Hughes, CEO, Northwest Louisiana Association of Realtors.
But you can call me president. I like that.
Head cheese.
Thank you all for what you do.
Bet,
Happy Friday. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, Scott, still in studio. We got to talking off mic, and I did ask you before you even came in the room if you've seen that new documentary on JFK.
I have not. A weekend watching for me, I guess. You and Mike and I are big JFK conspiracy fans.
This guy says it was all faked. This guy said that JFK actually he goes, you can watch him put his hand up on his face and applied a squib to his own head.
Oh, my.
And said that then they
a squib is
Jackie,
a blow up.
A squib is what they use in the film industry that looks like you get shot.
Because the guy
put it under their.
The guy has breakfast every Saturday with Elvis and JFK at the Waffle House. Is that what this
I couldn't
guy
take it seriously.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm a conspiracy theorist. You are too in this case.
Yes.
But one thing I think we all know for sure, JFK is dead. He got shot that day. I think that there's no, you doubt that, you lose credibility.
But I thought of you, and I was like, I got to text Scott because he's got to see this because this is ridiculous.
I don't even think RFK would say that would go that route.
It was redonkulous.
They're going to do a new rockumentary. Have you heard? Paul McCartney has now announced on the Beatles, and they're going to describe some of the theories about, John is dead. I mean, all those, remember those old myths that followed them?
If you play the record,
yes,
John is
exactly.
dead. Yeah,
so
right,
he's going to go into all that. That'll be a good one to see too. Humor and Harmony last night, the comedy show. I'm bummed because Dave Chappelle walks out, and I'm not there.
Well, I'm bummed because I didn't go. I'm with you. In all fairness, we are moving a daughter this weekend, so we did not get tickets. I think it's going to be fabulous. I've watched the city commit to this. I've watched the parish. I've watched everybody. And I don't mean this negative. Fingers crossed that the rest of the days go like last night, because last night was something that can put Shreveport on the map.
Oh,
that's huge. What I was saying. Yes. And everything seemed to go well. And if we just take those steps forward, let one step at a time.
Yep.
I'm older. I grew up at a time when going downtown, Circle in the Square, the rallies, the Northwest Tech game. Downtown was a place to go.
Yes.
You'd go down there and have fun. And to me last night, as I laid in bed at my age now and saw these reports of my friends having fun, I'm like, this is the Shreveport I grew up in, where you can go downtown and have fun. And I hope that this is highly successful. And then we were talking real estate. I think 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, needs to get credit. He's kind of brought some excitement back to downtown real estate as well. And if this succeeds, I think downtown Shreveport could see what the kickstart that it's been looking for. And I think Liz Swain and many others have done some tremendous work over the years. But this is what could really kick downtown Shreveport into the future.
I think we have to really give credit where credit's due here, too. Because
I had some help.
There are a lot of people that are holding their breath, going,
a lot of haters.
Please don't let, Shreveport.
Yeah.
But I drove down there this morning in the 4:00 hour, Scott, Mike, there were policemen and women everywhere. They have stepped up to make sure the bad guys, the bad element that might come down there, no, you are not welcome. Get the hell out of here. And you got to say, man, they have really planned this.
That's what I said earlier this hour. Kudos to from Mayor Tom Arsenault, Police Chief Wayne Smith, Sheriff Henry Whitehorn. All of them have stepped up and made it a success.
Absolutely. It is absolutely amazing. And I'm hoping the rest of the weekend's the same.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and Mike. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app, Mike and McCarty. On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline, Dr. Jeff Sato from LSUS Political Science. Dr. Sato, good morning, sir. Happy Friday to you.
Well, and the same to you.
Well, you've got a very intriguing article in the Hayride, on the Hayride website, that says we're one step closer to restoring that single congressional district here. And remember, you got to talk to me like I graduated from Northwood and explain to me what that one step is.
Okay, well, we could spend the rest of the morning talking about how we got here, but essentially, Louisiana is operating for this election cycle under a congressional map where there are two majority-minority districts. That's something that the legislature put into place earlier this year. But the thing is that replaced a map that was one single majority-minority district. That was the result of a district court decision that was made almost a couple years ago starting. And so, basically the state's been kind of whipsawed between these two things, particularly because this last map, the single or the two district map that was created that we're going to be operating under, that was declared unconstitutional by a different court, a three-judge panel based in a different district, the Western District, ours. And so the state doesn't really, at least in its official version, it doesn't really know what to do. It wants some clarity. And so it's asked the Supreme Court, was kind of invited to give a position as to why the Supreme Court should take all this up and then make a decision one way or the other. And so that's basically what they did. They submitted that at the end of July, along with some other people called technically interveners that were dealing with that original case from the Middle District that invalidated the previous 2022 map. They were, although they're not technically party to the case or defendants in the case, they were asked to give their input to that as well. And then at the end of this month, the plaintiffs, or those who won the case against the two district map, they'll be giving theirs at the end of this month, explain why they would think that the Supreme Court should take it up, and they're probably going to want that. The interveners wanted that, the state want that, so everybody wants the Supreme Court to get involved, but for different reasons.
You think the Supreme Court is going to get involved?
Yeah, because I would say the chances improved dramatically when the court itself decided, I think it was the end of May, a decision in South Carolina that dealt with redistricting their congressional districts as well. And what was interesting about the other case, kind of a new development, is for the first time the Supreme Court kind of delinked the idea of race and partisan politics when it comes to drawing maps. You see, up until then, basically, people, whatever interests were behind creating maps that tended to have the same proportion of districts as there are proportions of minority members, typically black, in a population. They've argued that they should be roughly the same, and that's why that was kind of the guiding principle behind the map that we have now. About 1/3 of Louisiana's population is black, and so therefore they argue you should have 2 of 6 districts should be. Should we?
I mean, is that something we should do? And if so, how do you accomplish it without dividing the state based on race only?
Well, that's the whole point. Is that the particularly the plaintiffs in this case against the present map, they've argued that this is a violation of the Constitution, one person, one vote, using race or weighing race too heavily in these kinds of decisions, and particularly because the Voting Rights Act, which is the authority under which this map of 2 was created. Their argument was, or at least the VRA's argument, is that you can't have that. It explicitly says this does not mean that you necessarily have to have this proportionality argument. So, it's that's kind of the balancing act that's going on, and the significance of the South Carolina decision is that in the past, using that proportionality argument or other arguments. Basically, it's aided Democrats because black voters overwhelmingly vote Democrat, and so therefore, if you create those districts, you're basically giving Democrats greater representation. And they're always arguing this, because the Constitution requires it, the Voting Rights Act requires it. Just so happens there's going to be Democrats involved, but we're not doing it because of politics. We're doing it because of racial discrimination considerations. But
the districts that, as we're running in them now, are not going to be impacted. We're going to go ahead with these districts like they drew them, even though many say they're illegal. because we're not going to have this court ruling fixed in time for this fall election, obviously, correct?
Yeah, that's basically correct. The court has a doctrine that basically says if we're too close to an election for administrative purposes, we're going to go with something even if another court's found it defective, because it's just too confusing to try to change things at the last minute. So, yeah, that's what the court did in this circumstance, but signaling, obviously, that they intend to look at this in more detail, and so that's why those invitations went out to the involved parties to ask, to give reasons why the court should intervene, and we got them.
Dr. Sato, one more thing. People don't realize this. I've looked at the map very closely that we're currently under. Mike Johnson no longer represents downtown Shreveport. There are a lot of people that are going to go to the polls this fall thinking they're going to vote for Mike Johnson, and he doesn't represent them anymore. People need to look at that map before they go to the polls this fall, right?
Yeah, I mean, people are some people are going to be surprised that, they're going to basically have a choice between really mostly Baton Rouge-based politics or maybe Albert Guillory, who's from Opelousas, but people they've never heard of for the most part.
Yeah, I got my voter registration card, and I had two of them, and I was like, wait, what's the difference? And I'm comparing the one I got in December to the one I got in June. I'm like, oh, the congressional district is different.
You're in the new one?
I guess so.
Wow. That's incredible. Dr. Jeffrey Sato, thank you so much for your time. This is a mess, I know.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. You have a good weekend. We appreciate your time, sir.
You too.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I can't keep up with the Olympics this year. I kind of miss the days where, it was ABC Sports and that's what you got and you watched whatever they. Now, Aaron, with streaming and US or whatever's carrying it and Hulu and Peacock, and I'm like, God.
I get home from work in the morning because right now everything's going on right now as we speak. And I have set my thing to record. Okay. And I'll get home and it will have recorded 60 events. I'll go through and go, I don't want to watch fencing, or, I'll just delete the ones I don't want to watch. We're in the last 72 hours.
So it wraps on the 11th, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, the 11th is what I was looking at. We love the Olympics for years. Particularly the Summer Olympics. We've, of course, the swimming, the track and field. But, Aaron, I'm watching and am fascinated the shot put.
I've been watching it too. And when they just barely step over that thing, it's like red flag goes up. I'm like, oh, how disappointing is that?
The American got back in on the medals because I forget what country this other guy was, but he beat him for the bronze. But then the red flag went up because his toe just went over that little wall there, that little edge. And I was
we had a lady shot putter, I think a U.S. shot putter, who I think it was a world record, but she just barely stepped over. And I was like, oh, my God. And she really didn't need to step over. If she had spun one more time, she could have fallen back into the. And I'm like, I'm excited. And this sounds silly. And I know people are griping about why it's an Olympic sport. The breakdancing's kicking off today.
No.
I'm going to watch it because I want to see it. I want to see how intricate, because I saw an interview with one of the breakdancers who said,
I'm not saying they're not talented.
For all the naysayers who are like you, please just watch it. They say, please try it. You will come back and you will go, wow, I was wrong. So give it a try. I'm going to do that because I was like, breakdancing, really?
Yeah, people said the same thing when they added skateboarding too, and it's like, oh, what are we going to add next? Yo-yo, and stuff like that. And and now skateboarding's a staple.
Yes.
Don't say yo-yoing out loud because then Duncan is going to jump in here and sponsor this.
So I am going to watch some of the breakdancing. I tried to watch the fencing. If I had to tell you what was the worst, most boring sport to watch for the Olympics, the fencing was it. I don't know how you score.
Because
I don't understand it.
It's not even actually sword fighting. They just lunge at each other and then it's over.
Yeah.
It's just boom. Oh, somebody scored. Who scored?
I don't know how he scored.
Yeah, it's like, who scored? I don't know.
Did you touch a blood vessel and you score? I'm not sure how it works. I don't get it. But I've been watching I love the track and field stuff. The hurdles to me, and a lot of people have fallen this week in the last couple of days. There have been a lot of stumbles. And there have been stumbles where 3 other people got wrapped up in it. Imagine if you've trained for 4 years.
Yeah. Oh.
And somebody in front of you tumbles.
And you,
and you tumble over them. Oh, how devastating would that be? And then we had the Lyles, who has COVID, but he decided to go run anyway.
Well, how did they let him?
They let him do it. Now, they had to cart him off in a wheelchair at the end because he was struggling to breathe. He didn't win, but he went out and ran with COVID. And I thought, you've been training for 4 years.
Yeah.
And the day of your race, you come down with COVID. And I don't know the protocol for how they allowed it, but they did.
The men's water polo, the U.S. is in the semifinal.
Yep. Basketball's in the finals.
Taekwondo. There's cycling today, diving, football.
Yes.
I don't think that's
it's
the women's bronze match.
Right.
Spain and Germany.
It's been a fun
now the gold medal match for table tennis is today.
I am there.
China and Sweden.
It's
Wonder
never
who's going to win that.
It's never not China.
I know.
It's always China.
Oh, really?
So to have the Swedish guy in this is unprecedented.
Okay.
And this cat, I've been following, this cat is good. He's very tricky. And the Chinese are not sure how to deal with him.
Fascinating to watch them.
It is.
Just serve. It's fascinating.
Oh, they toss it up
like
6 feet in the air, then it comes down, and they do this little wrist flick.
Yeah. You don't even see them. Yeah. Okay,
Unreal.
Ruben, at 9 o'clock, it says B-Girls pre-qualifier battle breaking.
So it's the B-Girls.
Is that breakdancing?
Yes.
The breaking.
B-Boys and B-Girls and breaking. Yeah.
B-Girls round robin is at 9 o'clock.
You guys got to watch the Breakin' movies. Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo is one of my favorites of all time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to watch it. watch it.
Larry,
I'm excited.
Larry Love, man.
I'm going to watch the breakdancing. I promised when I watched that interview, I said, okay, girl, I'll do it. I'll go watch them. On Monday, I'll tell you whether or not it sucks or not. So.
Nederland, and I don't know. You know what EOR is? I don't know, but it's been fascinating to.
The city of Shreveport has bumped minimum pay up to $13 an hour. To address the state's auto insurance crisis, 4 legislative committees met this week. Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple says the industry is simple at its core in the sense that it's dollar in, dollar out. And if they pay more than $1 going out, rates must increase.
Right now in Louisiana, I would say that we have excessive bodily injuries filed in Louisiana, and we have excessive litigation on those bodily injuries.
Temple says he plans to meet with Governor Landry to talk about the possibility of a special session for auto insurance. U.S. health officials are warning that several types of ground cinnamon sold at certain discount and specialty grocery stores are contaminated with high levels of lead. The FDA has issued alerts for at least 10 types of packed ground cinnamon sold at Dollar Tree and other discount stores. Blake Shelton's agreed to do a short-term Las Vegas residency. Ticket prices will start at $400. I'm Aaron McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline on this Friday with Mike and McCarty, former mayor of Shreveport, Representative Cedric Glover. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Well, we're doing great. How are you today?
Doing very well.
We got a question that we had to ask you. Somebody called in and said, you need to ask Cedric this important topic. He needs to figure it out and tell y'all what the answer is. I'm sorry I didn't have a minute to tell you what it was about, though, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right, here I go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
dear Cedric. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Scared you, didn't I?
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. And belated happy birthday wishes to you, Aaron.
Well, thank you so much. I understand this is your last year before you become a sextagenarian or whatever we are.
Exactly.
Septuagenarian, is that it?
No, that's 70. I don't know what a sextagenarian. Oh,
Your last year in your 50s.
My last year is 59, and I haven't gotten my favorite car by 59, so I guess that makes me a failure. I wanted a 59 bubblegum pink Cadillac.
Oh, okay.
An Elvis car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I know we got to let you go. It is your birthday. I'm sure you're celebrating. To see what happened in our community last night, how it went off kind of flawlessly. Even freaking Dave Chappelle showed up at the comedy show, and the rest of the events that are coming this weekend. You have to be just grinning ear to ear.
Oh, I am as happy and as filled with gratitude and thankfulness and pride and optimism at the potential that comes. Because the thing I keep trying to stress to people, as wonderful and great as all of this isn't actually the business that Mr. Jackson is in. What I anticipate and see that he's doing is creating the ecosystem in which he wants to do business. Mm-hmm. The real important thing for people to stay focused on is that what he does is film and media production. Yeah. That's the aspect of what's available here in Shreveport that drew him here. And so that part of this whole vision of his has not even begun to unfold. Well, what he's trying to do now is just trying to create the environment in which he wants to try and operate with him.
And as an actor, I'm excited about what he's doing as well.
You bet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Transforming the downtown. Well, we couldn't let your birthday pass. I texted you in the godforsaken hour of 6 a.m., but you slept in on your birthday, but I'm glad we were able to sneak you in. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for reaching out. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to be able to comment on this great, auspicious, and historic weekend we're in the midst of, and I hope that the rest of it unfolds as flawlessly as last night did. And again, Thank you, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, for your vision, your commitment, and your willingness to come and invest and support Shreveport, and the best is still yet to come.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Cedric. Thank you.
Thank you both.
101.7 FM. Speaking of the festival last night, the comedy show, Bristol from Kiss Country was at the Municipal Auditorium. We'll hear from her next. Mike and McCarty. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Big night last night. Mm-hmm. The Municipal Auditorium, jam-packed, laughter filled the air.
Yes.
Surprise guests, VIP area full. Mm-hmm. And we've got a guest in studio with us this morning, Bristol from Kiss Country 93.7.
And I was at Humor and Harmony.
And you were there.
And
you bought tickets too, by the way.
I did.
You paid.
Oh,
you said you had great
signed
seats.
up early. I signed up early. The second the pre-sale hit, I went on it. I bought 2 tickets. Cost me $311.
Oh, you were a Matt Rife fan.
Huge Matt Rife fan.
Okay.
And, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I do the country morning show. I did not know who some of the people were.
Sure.
Afterwards, I was like, oh, that's Master P.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, Dave Chappelle came out, opens up the show. And
He opened the show.
He comes walking out.
Does 50 Cent introduce him? How's that go?
No. So Dave
So
Chappelle
nobody
walks
knew
out.
he was going to be there.
No, this was a total surprise guest. And I was ready to put money on Tyler Perry. Because, he and Fitty are good friends. He's a Louisiana
there you
boy.
go. Yeah.
I'm hearing all about, the different secret guests.
Y'all were hearing secret guests talk?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he just comes out. He's in jeans and just a plain white T-shirt. And I'm like, because we're older.
Sure.
And even though we had really
She's
good
squinting
seats,
for
I'm
those
like,
who didn't see that.
holy, that's
Golly. One of the top five
did he do 10
comedians
minutes
in the
or
world.
anything?
No, and it was funny. He even made the comment. He said, I ain't getting paid for this. You ain't getting no jokes.
Did he really?
It was funny. No, it was
I
funny.
told you they didn't pay. He just wanted to be a part of this.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
So then he brought 50 out.
Okay.
And,
Did the place go nuts?
Oh, you have no idea, because I don't think anybody really expected 50 to be there because,
Okay.
the ribbon cutting.
Sure.
It was happening downtown right about the same time. So, but yeah, he came out and then they brought on the host for the evening. And I want to say it was Rudy. I don't know. I mean, that cognac that 50 Cent pushes is really good.
Oh, really?
Branson's, yes.
Oh, I like some cognac.
One'll do ya.
So how many comedians were on the bill? How many did you get to see?
Oh my gosh. We left after Matt Rife because, we wake up early.
Sure.
I lost count, honestly. I mean, it felt, because it kept flowing, like 5-minute sets.
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm sure
quick.
some of them were longer, but yeah. They kept it moving. The music was on point. They had, like I said, Master P played. I mean, it was cool. I ended up, and I've got video, and maybe I can show the video to Ruben because I'm not quite sure who it was. But I could have reached out and touched him. He was singing right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the vibe in the room? Take us in the room. What's the vibe feeling like?
Dude, I mean, it was just good. I mean, you open up with Dave Chappelle. And
crowd went crazy.
Oh, yeah. And, and I was chatting with the girl sitting next to me. And, we were just like, man, this has been great. Love the cameras downtown. Let's just hope Shreveport doesn't Shreveport. I mean, but.
Was there, Aaron said somebody made kind of a Ratchet City reference and jokes about, y'all crazy.
It really wasn't knocking on Shreveport at all. Now, a couple of them were talking about, dude, it's so hot. And I want to say it was Chappelle's like, you live here yet, Fitty? And he's like, not yet. So, I mean, it sounds like,
Wow.
I've heard he's bought a house here. I don't know if that's
we're hearing.
true.
That's what now, would you have been there if it was at Independence Stadium?
Yeah, I bought it when
you were
going to
go
at Independence Stadium.
So you were going anyway.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Now, it started at what, 6:30?
Dude, it was so hot. It was so hot.
Lines to get in, I'm told. It was slow getting in.
Honestly, it went really well. Our friend Marla, who's head of SMG in our area.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all hands on deck when Miss Marla is scanning tickets when you go in, okay?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
How late did it go? I mean, you left early. What time did you leave?
11ish.
It's still going at 11?
Dude, it was.
And you hung till 11? And wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Ish. Yeah.
Wow.
We were at dinner with some friends last night, and it got to be close to 9, and I'm going, guys, I'm sorry. I got to break this up. I
But
got
when
to go
I tell you,
home.
it was orderly. There, there wasn't a wait for drinks. I mean, it was really good. And I'm going to tell you what, they kitted that place out. It was 50 cent everything. Even the bar signs behind the concession stands.
How full was it? How full was it?
Oh, it was packed.
Was it?
It was packed.
A couple of scattered seats was all I could see, really.
Yeah. And, and who knows what that's attributed to. It may have been someone who bought tickets and couldn't make it, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And you went with one other friend. Mm-hmm. Crowd was well behaved. You didn't see any.
No, I literally never felt uncomfortable. Not a single moment.
How far away did you have to park?
We didn't. My friend Rebecca lives downtown, so we just grabbed an Uber and then just had a friend pick us right up. So, I mean, it was literally door service.
Wow.
Yeah, they had it really well planned out. And, considering the fact that, I'm with VYJ and we're running the...
Volunteers for Youth Justice.
Yes, we're running the admission this weekend in Festival Plaza for people to get in.
Oh,
we've kind of been lucky to be a part of the planning process.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, it seems as if they've thought of just about everything.
G-Dome, were a lot of people talking about going down there?
Yeah, people were ready. Well, I told you, the cognac was...
It was legit.
People were ready to go downtown.
Okay, now I got to get the name of that because I want to try it.
Oh, my. Branson's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they've opened a business in the Red River District that serves it all. I mean, they have that brand and they're serving it all the time. So I'm thrilled you got to go. And
Unit.
You got to see Dave Chappelle. I'm jelly.
That's cool. That is cool. Now, did he hang the rest of the night? Or
Oh, yeah,
do you know?
he came back on on stage, halfway through. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was love. And you could tell these comedians were like totally playing out for each other.
Wow. That's impressive. It's a big deal for Shreveport. I'm telling you, folks don't realize how big it is. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Bristol with Kiss Country, 93.7. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, I haven't told you yet. I may be missing some days.
Yeah.
I got an email, and I meant to tell you that I have a notice to appear in court.
I got one too.
It says, hereby you are notified you have been scheduled to appear for your hearing at the county courthouse.
Yep, I got one too.
Please bring all documents and witnesses relating to this case with you to court on your hearing date. To view a copy of the court notice, click here.
Yep.
Please read it thoroughly. Click here, and it's a link. If you do not attend the hearing, the judge may issue a warrant for failure to appear in court. And it's signed by Vincent Gambino Baker, attorney at law.
I got the same. Vincent sent me one too.
I wonder if we're involved in the same case, Aaron.
We're suing each other or something? Are
we
you
must
suing
be.
me?
We must be.
How do they send one out signed by Vincent Gambino? If you're a scam artist, don't put Vincent Gambino.
Baker.
Yeah, no. That's Vincent Gambino. Why?
Why would you put that name on it?
Baker.
What was that? I can't. My cousin Vinny. That's right. It's my cousin with Ralph Macchio.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
He's Vinny.
You're great movie,
You're
by
not
the
Joe
way.
Pesci.
No. Right. Exactly.
Which, by the way, if you haven't heard any of Joe Pesci keeps that character up, and he records music with it. He has an entire album of Vincent Gambino's songs, and they're all hilarious. Some of them are pretty dirty.
Talking about Utes, I'm sure.
Utes, yeah.
Utes? Did you say Ute?
If I have to tell you one movie when it's on, I'm watching it. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
It's one. Shawshank is one. That's one. I'm loving that. I don't understand.
Okay,
yeah.
I found a story. It says, do not click, like they needed to tell me, don't click this link. This email, the scam email from, quote, Vincent G. Baker, you've been scheduled, and it says to click here. The click here is something you do not want to do.
By the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a scam going around now with the Caddo Sheriff's Office.
So funny.
People are getting calls saying that there's a warrant out for your arrest. Isn't that what they're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And you need to settle that up, and they can help you settle it by taking your payment over the phone, and the warrant will go away. The sheriff's office does not handle business that way.
No, they won't call you. They'll show up at your house.
With handcuffs, yeah. There's a warrant out for your arrest. They're coming to get you.
Right,
with the marshal.
And if you want to know if there's a warrant out for your arrest, you can go search.
Yes,
There's an easy website. You can go look and see is there a warrant.
I'm wondering over the past few years how many legitimate emails that I've deleted, even from our corporate.
Yes.
Because I'm not clicking on them.
Right.
You're not, no.
Yeah, if the wording is off, sorry, you're getting deleted.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, Bill Wilson.
If I need to,
Even if the wording is on, if it says click or sign up, I'm not doing it.
No.
This email is not approved. You need to click here to make sure it's approved by corporate. I send those to the engineer. I'm like, is this a spam?
I don't even do that. I just delete it.
I should just delete them.
They can call me if they need me to do something.
I think they know I'm pretty gullible, so they try to trick me.
Oh, and corporate does send out. They send out emails to us.
Yes.
To test us to see if we're going to click here.
And if you do, you get sent to class.
Yeah, you get sent to computer
I had
class.
to take a class one time.
Yep.
I did because I did it a few years ago.
You clicked on the Gambino email.
I did not click on that one, but I did click on a free iPhone.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Oh, man.
Stupid. If you
Ay.
hover over the link, if you hover the cursor over the link, you can look down at the bottom of the screen and it tells you where it's going to go.
Oh, okay.
And you can look and see, this is bullschnozzle.
Yes, Timu. Yeah, exactly.
Have a great weekend.
You guys too.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.